Thanks for stopping by. It's April 2025, and this is all about the AWS calendar invite server we built. We call it CIS. You see it right there. The core message to get across, at least in this pitch, is that the organizer sends a calendar invite to an AWS configured email box, and that data is disassembled, assigned a UID inside the calendar invite server, and it's stored for future calendar invite sending on AWS calendar invite server itself. So when we walk through that, essentially any change to the calendar invite event information from the organizer's calendar client are updated in the AWS calendar invite server using the UID. So the core construction of how this all works is that externally, customers are using their independent Google or Outlook calendar clients and sending data by using a simple copy address. So the copy address in this case here could be anything for your domain. In this case here for a demo domain, it's create@calendarsnack.com. So when these independent calendar clients here sent that MLB data to the processing box under the organizer's email address, that data now is plumbed into the API gateway, and in an inbound SES box, we take that simple email service box, we configure it with a inbound S3 bucket, and that S3 bucket is there to push data to the Lambdas, which we've built. And then the calendar invite process here in step one, we actually disassemble the calendar invite from these clients. So it is our unique way, our novel way, if you will, of reinventing the calendar invite server itself. Now, what happens in the future is when these APIs are called to be sent a calendar invite, we reassemble it on the fly, and that's the other novel part of our invention, is that we store and forward, if you will, upon the UID request for the Lambda, and that UID request could be for a calendar invite email list. So somebody that's doing a large batch of calendar invites to an email list, we can do that. And or, which I will demonstrate in this demo, a calendar invite being sent from an embedded web page. So both of these are the add to calendar replacement use cases in which we see a majority of our customers using the AWS calendar invite server for. So what happens when the invite is reassembled, we hit the outbound calendar invite service on SES. That is a new calendar invite that goes out the API gateway and goes out to the customer. Now, what happens up here, though, is if we have a game change metaphorically for an MLB game, that independent organizer will go in and change it, and then the data would get pushed, and that workflow will either go to an update level status or cancel. We disassemble that data again, we reassemble it and send it out to the appropriate organizers. It's a bit abstract, but that's why I'm going through it. So these 1 through 9 here on the bottom of this chart are the 9 APIs that are hooked up to the calendar invite server, and we shuffle the data and workflow decisions of the calendar invite sent. For more information, go to calendarsnack.com and see our apps there. We're building numerous apps, if you will, using the Calendar Snack tech stack. That is the front end that runs all these API workflows. Now, these are the 9 APIs I spoke about. I've color-coded them. In the future pitches I'll be doing, I'll be using a color-coded system to kind of call them out. Now, this one here is our calendar invite server APIs working for the MLB games here in the 2025 demo series I'm doing. So this illustrates, essentially how I put an email address up here. I click get the calendar invite. The calendar invite hits the single invite event invitation send, and the calendar invites are gone out, and then we collect that data using API 6 and 7 to actually look at the collection of data from the endpoints of the calendar clients, and then we organize that into this organizer dashboard. That's all done here off the calendar invite server. So specifically, as I drill into this, what's going on with API number 1 is that we're basically taking the UID and email are sent to the API 1 endpoint. This API 1 endpoint is a high definition endpoint that actually is taking our novel invention and mating it to a runtime Lambda in the background, in which we reassemble this calendar invite data out of DynamoDB and S3. And then there's the extract, load, and transform process we do with the Lambda exercise to actually recreate the particular game invites here when these buttons are clicked. So that's what's going on in the back. Now, anytime, again, the update or cancel for the calendar invite information is pushed from the original client, we push that all the way through a workflow process. And that data now is being collected using the API gateway and our 9 APIs. These calendar receipts are collected downstream on any calendar invites you send out on the calendar invite server itself, and then we collect all that data. You can see in this particular organizer, there's been about 8,000 invites sent out and about 2,000 collected with a really strong response. This is a classic response case now with calendar invites seeking at least 20% or greater data back from the end users when they're doing transactional and or big bulk runs with their calendar invite server. This much more efficient than sending out reminder emails. This is a wrap up. Thanks for stopping by on Monday, April 28th, 2025. Thanks.